So, I'd like to welcome Sam Richardson.
The contract.
Oh, bugger. Talented and glamorous?
Nah.
Charming.
Handsome and talented.
Handsome and talented.
That's it. I'm sorry, it's not me, it's my agent. Anyway, take two.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome the handsome and talented Sam Richardson. How's this? So I'd like to welcome the handsome and talented Sam Richardson.
Not bad.
Believe it?
It's on the way.
So I didn't get the part.
You didn't get the part. But we'll call you back, maybe.
Hi, I'm Scott. You're watching Inside Musicals, the channel for all things musical theatre. Now, I know from your comments that many of you are just at the beginning of your musical theatre journey, and like you, Sam has had to contend with both study and launching a career during the past few tumultuous years. So I'll be really interested to hear how you relate to his experience. He shares some great insights into his role in Next to Normal and getting a start in the industry. So please show him some love. He's a guest here after all. You can connect with him on Instagram, and be sure to come back for part 2 of our conversation where we touch on auditions, networking, and being a swing in Bonnie and Clyde. I saw you most recently in Next to Normal, which was great, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a really tough role. You were playing the part of Gabe.
Yes.
So it was a Melbourne production of Next to Normal.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that saga, because there was a bit of... It took a while to get there.
It did take a while, yeah. It was April of 2021 when I first auditioned. So it's been over a year, and we only just finished it about a month ago. But yeah, we finally got it done in March, and that was our 3rd season. So we tried in July, which was the original season, and we got our first preview out. And then we got locked down the day after. And for that one, we knew that we were getting locked down the day after. We found out that day that we were going to get tonight's show in. I didn't have any I had grandma and grandpa there, but I didn't have mum or dad. I didn't have my 2 sisters there. So the producer was very lovely and was like, hey, I can get you a couple of tickets for mum and dad. I was like, yeah, that'll be great. Because at that point, we didn't know if that was going to be it. We didn't know if it would come back. Yeah. So we were kind of just putting it all into this show because we were like, this might be the end, just with theatre availability. And obviously we all wanted it to get back on its feet.
And the availability of performance as well.
Performers as well, yep.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think that was meant to be a 5-day lockdown. I think it was meant to be a snap, one of those snap lockdowns, but
it didn't for months or something.
Yeah. Or this one was only a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
So then we ended up coming back in August to do 2.0, and the same thing happened again.
That was opening night?
It was first preview again. So we got the first preview in, but at this point, the really brutal part about 2.0 was that the day that we did our first preview, we had no cases. So in the foyer afterwards, I remember talking to Mark, our director, and being like, oh my God, this just feels so much better than last time because we have tomorrow's show to fall into. Yeah. We're going to be caught by tomorrow's show. We have, today we had donuts that day to celebrate a donut day. 0 cases. Yeah. The producer brought in donuts and he was like, everybody, it's a donut day. And we're like, oh my God, yes. And then that show happened. We're pumped to come in to open the next day. And then 12 p.m. that day, I think, the news started circling saying that we had 2 or 3 cases. And we just thought, shit, at least we'll get tonight, It's our opening night. I was out with Liam, who played Henry in that season, buying our outfits, our opening night outfits. And then Dan Andrews says 8 p.m., which has never happened before. It's always been 11:59. So obviously it's a 7:30 show. We locking down at 8 p.m. We couldn't do the show.
Because that caught everyone by surprise. Here in Melbourne, from retail to hospitality to theatre, it was like a couple of hours' notice.
Yeah. You just had to race home, get everything you needed from wherever you were, and then just get home. It was crazy.
Because the thing I wondered about having the show shut down is whether the producers could even afford to mount it again. Because I imagine there must have been costs. It costs a lot of money to not put on a show.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, because by that point, everything had been paid for. the set, the costumes, the theatre hire. The actors had been paid, the creatives. All that money was gone. So James,
so when you finally got back to the third season, which I saw, how much rehearsal did you have for that? Like, did you count on the fact that most of you'd rehearsed, but I think there were a couple of changes in cast, weren't there?
Yeah, we had a new Dan, a new Henry, and we also had a cover come in to learn a few of the roles as well. So we almost got the whole rehearsal process again, which was such a gift for me, and for a couple of the others that were already there. I just felt like it was all those little nerves, those first day nerves and things like that, and it's my first show. Those hiccups along the way that I had in July and August of 2021 were just not there this time around. Yeah. And I felt like I had little doubts that might have been there the year before, just sort of weren't there. And I felt like I had a lot more of a chance to just kind of explore this character in a far deeper way, which was really exciting. I felt like it was really mine this time, and I don't know if I felt that the first time around.
Yeah. Well, in a way, even though you might not have done it in front of an audience, you'd lived with the character for a while.
Yes, that too. Had a lot of time to sit with it. Yeah. A lot of time to sit with the script and the beautiful story. And yeah, this character that is a real tricky one to play. So I think I needed that extra time, actually. It was a bit of a blessing, because I really do think my performance in March was, I personally just enjoyed it more than what I did in 2021. I'm not entirely sure how it came across, but I thought I was having a better time. It was feeling more comfortable, which was really fun.
Now, you said it's your first show. It's not actually your first pro show, but it was your first show after graduating from Vic College of the Arts.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was a saga in itself. When did the college shut down? Or what part of your study?
It was the beginning of third year in 2020, but we had the most incredible start to 2020 because we had this subject called Global Italia, where the year before they went to New York and did 2 weeks of classes with New York performers and creatives, and then for us, we went to the West End. So we did 2 weeks in London. It was incredible, working with London performers, and then just seeing a show on the West End every single night. I remember I got to see James McAvoy in Cyrano. I got to see Gavin Creel and Sarah Bareilles in Waitress. I got to see some amazing things, and we were all just pinching ourselves every day. We were like, this year is going to be the best. We were like, how could this get any better? And then on top of that, because what's so amazing about it is everybody was given that opportunity because the uni gave us money. We were given like $6,000 or something to spend on flights and accommodation to be able to do this. So we had money left over and we traveled Europe. Like, it was the most incredible time of my life. And then getting back to uni, we had a real intense period of sort of in-house performances and working with like incredible teachers that had come internationally to VCA as well. It was just, I couldn't have hoped for a better beginning to third year. And then, boom. And then, yeah, it was like a month of being back on campus. And I remember sitting on campus and hearing that Tom Hanks had COVID. And we were like, oh gosh, that's awful. And we were like, Tom Hanks was in Queensland filming Elvis, I think, at the time. And we were like, God, that feels a bit close to home. And we had a few people that weren't really worrying. And then a couple of people that were like, no, I think this is a big deal. But at that point, it was only a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who's contracted it. You know, I didn't know anyone.
It's just like the flu.
Yeah, we were like, is it a thing? Is it gonna get us? And then, sure enough, we were shut down. And then.
So, what did shutdown look like at college? Did you do distance learning for some subjects? Was there any on-campus contact at all, and how did that evolve through the year?
Yeah, well, it was brand new for everybody, so we were all trying our best to make it work. The teachers did an amazing job, but yeah, no, there was nothing on campus from about March until October, I would say. So we'd missed a huge chunk of the year.
And for a course that's physical might not be the right word for it, but it's not a theoretical. It's not something
No.
just reading books. It's
No.
a doing thing.
Yeah.
Performance is doing. That must have been very,
Oh my God.
very frustrating.
Yeah. There's only so many times you can sing at your white wall in your room and feel motivated to keep doing it. You know, I know that you know, with self-tapes and whatnot these days there is a lot of that. And that was one thing that came out of it, really. Got really good at self-taping.
Right.
But, you know, my favourite thing about the work that we do and which is actually, funnily enough, my favourite thing about life as well is the relationships, you know, connecting with people. My favourite thing about story is the relationships that are involved, and my favourite thing about life are, you know, my friends and my family. Like, that's everything to me. And like I said, beginning the year, travelling the world with your friends, and seeing theatre on the West End, you know, to then be stuck in your room and have to try and do a performance course online. It's just crazy. Like,
So what, for instance, happened? I mean, even though a lot of acting is reacting and listening and responding to a degree by yourself, you can create those and internalize those responses.
yeah.
But what about things like dance classes? Were they even possible?
They had to be possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
We had to make it work, you know, and the tricky thing about it was that the great thing about an institution and having a campus is that you're all on the same level. You know, you're all there together and you all have access to facilities and blah, blah, blah. But when you're at home, you know, some people don't have the space other people have. I was pretty lucky. I was staying at home with my family. If I was living in the city in my little apartment like I am now, I would have really struggled. But I had my family home where we have this room in the back, and I just kind of pushed the pool table out of the way and then just had a decent amount of space.
This is my college.
This is my place, and that's where I just did everything, and made it work. But it was really hard, and particularly for dance, I found getting out of bed and being motivated to do it was really challenging.
But you're no stranger to dance. When you
No.
kind of started
No,
in
yeah.
dance. So when did you start dancing?
I started dancing when I was probably 11, maybe.
And so your whole family were quite committed to it. So how many nights a week were you training and on average?
It picked up. When I was 11, 12, 13, I wasn't crazy into it. I sort of just did music theatre classes and boys breakdancing. They were like my two classes. But when I hit kind of the ages of like 14 to 18, I was there 4 nights a week, 5 hours a night type thing. Which, when you put that on top of 5 days a week of school.
And were you doing sports and things as well?
For a lot of it I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't stop playing footy until I was 16. And footy, funnily enough, was my main sort of thing up until about 16 years old. And I was at a crossroads, and I definitely had to choose between one of them, because I was getting to a point with my performing and my footy where they were both asking a lot of me. And I was getting to the age where I had to sort of commit to one, because I was approaching adulthood, and if I wanted to be a performer and if I wanted to be a footballer, I had to kind of do it within those next couple of years, you know. And I just, I adore singing and I adore acting. And
So what was the moment, do you remember the moment you thought theatre is what I'm doing? Was there something that influenced you, something that spoke to you, something you saw or did that suddenly, that switched it from just something you were doing to something that you actually saw a future in?
yeah, there was always a love for it, but I think I didn't really have any belief that I could do it, really. I sort of was like, not that I couldn't see myself on these stages, because I was like, no, I can get there. Like, these people look like me and sort of sound like me, I guess. But I just wasn't, I guess I didn't have a teacher that sort of was like, no, you you can do this, and I believe that you can do it. And it was my teacher, my singing teacher in year 12. Her name's Erin, and she actually teaches at VCA now, which is amazing. She showed me Dear Evan Hansen, and she showed me. She's like, "There's this little song called Waving Through a Window. Let's just see, you know, if we like it, if we want to do it." And then she played it to me at the end of the lesson. Then she was like, "Go home, listen to it for a week, see how you feel." I just remember crying on the bus to school, listening to that soundtrack, being like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I went back into my lesson next week, and I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard." And she was like, "You love it? Let's do it. Let's work on it." And then I remember performing that song at a little showcase that my performing arts school put on. And it's the first time I really felt like I acted through song. And I've just never felt anything like it.
Because there's that thing which I often find hard to communicate to young singers, that point where you stop just singing the notes and the words and you sing what's not on the page. You bring something else. Yeah. Something that only you can bring to that performance. Yeah. And that's a nice place to get to suddenly realise, oh, there's this other thing that goes on. Yeah. And it was about not sort of recreating anything that you'd seen or heard. And it was about bringing your own uniqueness to this piece of material. And I didn't really, I didn't know, I hadn't been trained yet. I didn't know how to attack a song from an actor's point of view. I didn't really know how to, work out an objective and have actions and have beat changes. I didn't know any of that, but I just connected to the lyrics and had a love for it, and then something special came from it. And I know if I look at that performance now, I'll be like, hey. But at the time, it was important to me. And then for the rest of that year, I worked really hard to try and get into VCA. That was sort of the only real goal I had in mind, was that university. And then, luckily enough, it happened. But you'd also worked professionally before VCA. Yeah. So given that you had all this dance training from a very young age, which also included some theatre and singing, what made you think, after having already worked professionally, that study was a good choice? What did you think study was going to do that you didn't already have? I think what booked me that job in year 12, which was, it was an amazing show. It was so much fun. It was a fun show. It was a panto. It was Peter Pan. Yes. And you were Lost Boy? I was a Lost Boy. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was really great. But I do think if I look at what booked me that role, I think it was that I was young and charismatic. Enthusiastic. And enthusiastic and just happy to be there, and that was enough for them. And that did a lot for me, that show. I really loved it. It was thrilling performing in theatres like that, It was special. But I knew that, by that point I was 18. I turned 18 on that contract. I was old enough to know, and I was old enough to see performers and be like, okay, I can see that I've got a little bit to go before I can get there. I really feel like inside me I have that potential, but I need to invest some time into parts of my craft. Yeah. And I went to the VCA Open Day and just loved it. I got to watch in on one of the classes, and just said to Mum and Dad, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I need to go here. I need to go here. I feel like the culture is awesome. The teachers are world class, and I just knew that I could get a lot from it, and it really was the best. It's interesting. I had a very similar experience because I never did drama at school. I never had a singing lesson in my life or a dance lesson. Yeah. But for my year 12, I left my high school to go to a college. So I was doing my year 12, my final year of school with adults. And I did some dance there, and it was a drama-focused year 12. Yeah. And then after that, I got booked as the title role of Noddy in Noddy Goes to Toyland, so Panto. Nice. or singing or
Both
dancing.
getting a start in panto.
It's a really good training ground.
Yeah, I think so.
And for some reason, I thought, I'm getting away with this, but I actually don't, for anything beyond that, I don't have any solutions.
No.
And there were two guys in the cast who were recent graduates of WAAPA,
Okay.
Western Australia Academy of Performing Arts.
Yeah.
And they looked prepared. They seemed to know what they were doing. Maybe they were just full of
Faking
bravado,
it.
I don't know.
Just faking their way through.
But-
Fake it till you make it.
But
really.
they seem to have strategies and seem to deliver.
Yeah.
And for me, that said to me, that's something I need to do.
That's the thing, isn't it? Too having tools in your toolkit to, you know, when you can't just rely on feeling
Instinct.
every night, you know, because what if you're having a bad day, which happens 8 shows a week. If you're in a long contract, you need to have tools and strategies to work your way through a story and still give the audience the show that they've paid for. But if you're not feeling completely connected today, what are you gonna do? And I feel like that's what uni taught me a lot as well. Those strategies and those ways through when instinct or whatever is failing you a little bit on that day.
Because in a way, I often think craft is not about the theory and it's not about the techniques. The craft is having those techniques so second nature that they feel like instinct. But those moments where your instinct fails you, you have something concrete, some intellectual approach to then going, oh, let's try this.
Totally.
But it gives, I think you used the word toolbox before.
Yeah, well, toolkit.
Yeah, toolkit.
Yeah, definitely. And I would not have that toolkit without VCA. I'd just be relying on that enthusiastic charisma.
Plus there's that thing which we spoke about once before, which is that thing of that total immersion for that 3 years of full-time study.
Yes.
Because at the end of it, when you actually go out into the world and you had the double whammy of COVID as well, is that sense of grinding to a halt, and now would I put that energy? So how's that been for you? How have you managed that?
Well, that's the thing about, because obviously 2020 and 2021 for Melbourne was actually pretty similar. I think we thought that 2021 would be different because it looked like it was going to be that sort of summer. And then I remember seeing Chess sold out at the Regent Theatre in April. It's a decent way into 2021. We were like, okay, we're 4 months in. This is good.
It's only up from here.
Yeah, and then it all turned. But the thing about COVID in 2020, being at VCA, even though we're at home, but having VCA was that like backbone of support the whole way through. We always had the university to lean on, and we also had 20 other people in my cohort that were in the exact same position. So I never once felt alone in 2020. It was a difficult year, but in that regard, it was quite easy. We were being held. We had our hands held the whole time.
And you had a point of focus.
University. And yeah, we had things to do every day. 2021 was really hard because the university said, see ya, bye. We've got 20 new people to care about. You guys can fend for yourself. And we're like, okay, but it's fine because 2021 is looking good. And then when it turned to crap, it was extremely difficult because already as a fresh grad, it's tough, you know. Casting directors and agents and stuff, they say that they want to see you, you know, and they want to see what you got. But at the same time, when you have nothing on your CV, sometimes people don't really care to give you a chance. And it's like, how do you get that? How do you get things on your CV without someone kind of giving you a shot, you know?
Well, this maybe leads into my next question, which is, I mean, I think institutions do an extraordinary job of preparing people for the craft. What did they do in terms of preparing you for the business of the industry?
Sort of wasn't really spoken about harshly until the end of third year. I don't think they wanted to scare us. I just remember, first year just being so different to third year because, you know, it had to be because we needed a little bit of a reality check. You know, we can't just expect all 20 of us to just be off on huge contracts as soon as we finish. I remember I had something that stuck with me for a long time was one of our beautiful teachers, Margot at VCA, who was the head of the course for a really long time. It was the day of our first rehearsal for Showcase at the end of third year. And she just spoke about how we need to have our own little creative projects going on, you know? Like we can't be, first of all, like your value as a person, that's first and foremost. But if you know, because we're artistic people, we want to put time into something artistic, and if it's not a job or auditions, that's okay. Like what can we do that fills our time and makes us happy first and foremost, you know, whether it be writing songs or, you know, having a goal to write an album. You know, I wanted to do that for so long, and I'm just very lucky so far that little gigs have gotten in the way of that, and that's fine. But I know that once I have nothing, I'll just go back to writing my music, you know?
Yeah. Something
that just sort of fills me for the time being. Or it could be anything. It could be, you know, writing scripts, or even just like seeing a movie a week or something, you know, and watching it from an actor's perspective, you know, having little artistic goals that you sort of are doing for yourself that have nothing to do with the industry.
Well, I think what I found, and this is a while ago now, was that the focus at the end of third year was getting an agent. Beyond that, it was like, it's all a mystery. Mm-hmm. Then it's up to you. The agent will fix everything.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I mean, it's tough to get an agent sometimes.
Yeah.
If I were to do things over again, I would say the biggest skill you can develop is entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Create your own work that you can perform in. For exactly that reason that you were saying before, if people haven't seen you in something, how are they going to take a chance on you?
Yeah.
People like to work with what they know.
Totally.
And people that they get a sense of. Mm-hmm. It's such a personal industry, really.
Yeah.
You're working very intensely with people, both physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest tip for anyone starting out is do a business plan, create multiple streams of income for yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking of, this is my acting, I'll have a day job.
Yeah.
Is there another way you can be developing income that uses the skills that are uniquely yours?
Totally. And you're going to enjoy it more at the end of the day too. I mean, for me right now, I work at a bar to kind of make my money, and I'm really getting sick of it. So I'm like, what can I actually do? You know, I used to do gigs here and there, just like little pub gigs and stuff, little pub sets like that, just with my guitar. And I wanted to get, call it a muggle job. I wanted to get a muggle job for a bit to just have that steady sort of pay, and also to just take a step away from the industry for a little bit, because it did frighten me at first when I graduated from VCA. You know, like I remember when Moulin Rouge and when Wedding Singer and stuff were auditioning early 2021, I just didn't go. I was like, I need a second. I need to get a job elsewhere. I need to just take a little second to just process what 2020 was, because that was huge. And then when the right show comes around, give it a crack. And that was Next to Normal for me. When I got that brief, I was like, okay, I can see myself in this show. And even if I don't get it, I know that I'll have something that they'll at least want to see, you know, for a callback or two, maybe. And I was just very lucky that one then ended up coming off.
Now, if you loved Sam, be sure to come back for part 2 of our chat. And let me know what you think of this longer form content. And how have you survived these past few years? And always remember, I love you more than anything in the world. Except maybe my cats. That's like a really high bar, but you're definitely up there. Thanks for watching. Love you.